I keep seeing people say that 2021 isn't a good time to buy a house because house prices are at their all-time highs and that this bubble is going to pop at some point. But it seems like people are just speculating on this without really any information at all. I think a lot of people are traumatized by what happened in 2008, but it's really important to know that the situation we're in with housing today is far different than the situation we were in 2008. Even if you bought a house at the peak in 2007, you would still have made money if you held on to it from 2007 until this year. Take a look at this graph. This graph shows the average sold price of a house by year. And if you see, the trend is very much upwards. Yes, there are dips in between, but those dips usually recover after 5, 7, up to 10 years. So if you're looking to get into real estate for the long game, then even though we might be at a peak right now, in 10 years, prices are only going to be higher than they are today. Sure, they may have dips or they may even have a crash, but overall, on average, they're going to recover and they're going to be higher than they are today. And this is because of inflation. In fact, real estate is the one kind of investment that benefits from inflation. See, real estate prices increase with inflation, just like the like button down below increases every time you smash that like button. So inflation is one of those things that is going to continue to push housing prices up year over year. But that's not the only factor that we need to consider for 2021. The other factor that I haven't heard anyone talk about is supply and demand. Prior to 2007, we were building more new houses every year than there were for new households in the country. Meaning we had a net positive of new houses being built, which in turn meant that there was more supply than there was for demand. This was in part because there were so many people building new houses because it was so easy to get a mortgage before the 2008 crash. So builders were building more houses than people could keep up with buying. And in the 2008 crisis, when that occurred, builders went from building over 2 million houses a year to less than 500,000 per year. And they've been very hesitant to start getting back up to the pace that they were at before. So now we're still seeing about 1 million to 1.4 million new houses being built, which is not keeping up with the number of new households in America each year. So that means there are more people looking to buy than there are houses being built. So in 2020, before the pandemic even hit, we already had a 2.5 million house shortage. So we would have needed to build an extra 2.5 million houses in order just to get the supply to reach the demand that was already there. And let's say we take an average of how many new households there are every single year. And if we take a look at the number of new houses that are beginning construction in the last month or two, that number is about 1.3 million. So let's say they are building 200,000 more houses per year than the population needs. So let's just work with the 2.5 million shortage number that we had before the pandemic. That means if we were able to build even just 200,000 more houses every year than households grew, it would still take more than 12 years to get to a point where the supply and demand are equal. And so as long as the demand is higher than the supply, then you're always going to have stable or rising housing prices. And this doesn't even take into account that in the next 5 years, the millennials will be at a point where they'll be buying houses at an all-time high. This means they'll go from being renters to being homeowners. So there's going to be even stronger demand for housing. And here's another reason why buying a house in 2021 is still a good investment if you're keeping it long term. Mortgage rates are at the lowest points that they've been in ever. So if you get a mortgage today, you're going to be paying a very low interest rate for a 30-year mortgage. You could get an interest rate of around 2.7 to 3%, which means after you account for inflation of 2% per year, and the tax write-offs for the interest on the mortgage, you're basically getting free money to buy a house. And this means that the appreciation that you'll see over the next 30 years, coupled with the mortgage pay down every single month that you pay your mortgage, that will mean that you will be getting more money added to your net worth every single month. And the great thing about fixed rate mortgages are you will pay the same amount of principal and interest every single month for the next 30 years. However, if you look at rent increases year over year to keep up with inflation. So the cost of housing goes up when you're a renter. But when you own your own home, the only thing you're really having to worry about is property taxes and insurance going up. But compared to the rest of the house, that's very minimal. And just based on the appreciation due to inflation, over about 10 to 15 years, you'll be paying less per month for your mortgage than you would be paying for rent. And like I said before, it's not even considering all of the tax benefits and the principal pay down. So you're saving money every single month just owning a house. And it doesn't matter if you buy it in 2021 or if you bought it in 2007. As long as you're buying and holding, there's nothing to worry about for the long term. It's the same with the stock market. The stock market goes up, it goes down, but if you're staying in for the long haul, you're always going to make money at the end of the day. So now is always the best time to get started in investing, whether it's in real estate or the stock market. So if you're financially stable and financially ready to buy a house in 2021, then definitely look for a good deal. Take your time buying. Don't just buy the first property you find, and it will always be the right time to buy in the market. Whether we're at the top of the market or we're at the bottom of the market, as long as you take your time and get a good deal on your house, you will always make it out ahead in this game. So I hope this was helpful. If you like this video, like it down below and leave a comment down below and let me know what you think about the real estate market. And if you enjoy this kind of content, I make multiple videos about real estate investing and general finance every single week. So definitely consider hitting the subscribe button down below, and thank you for watching and see you next time.